Today, I'm going to teach you how to learn English from home completely on your own for free with only 20 minutes per day without taking courses or paying for classes. Before I start the video, if you need help understanding what I'm saying, activate subtitles. Click here below down this video and you can activate subtitles so you don't miss any important information. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kalle Anders. I am not Latino. I am not a native English speaker. I'm actually from Sweden and I'm a language learning expert and polyglot. I speak 4 languages fluently: English, Swedish, jag pratar svenska flytande fast du garanterat inte förstår någonting. Hablo espanhol também fluidamente e também eu falo português. Eu acho que você também entende, mesmo que você não seja do Brasil. How come I speak 4 languages then? Why do I speak 4 languages? Well, I moved to Mexico in 2016 to do my master's degree, to study. And at that point, I only knew Swedish, which is my mother tongue, and English that I had learned when I was a kid in school and throughout my teenage years, traveling a lot and so forth. And then I arrived to Mexico to do my master's degree, and my intention was not to learn Spanish, but I really fell in love with the Mexican culture, the Mexican people, the weather, the food, everything, and so I felt I really wanted to learn Spanish. And so I signed up for courses and classes and went to those classes, and the first thing they did was, today you're gonna learn the verb ir, which is to go. So they listed out the entire verb: ir, voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van, and all the traditional grammar drills. And before I knew it, I was completely overwhelmed. I forgot everything I learned. It was super boring, and I decided to quit. I decided to skip class and try to learn Spanish on my own. And so what I did was, instead of going to YouTube and just learning Spanish, I studied how to learn languages. I spent a very long time researching, following people who speak many languages, up to 20 languages, to see what they did to learn as many languages as fast. And so in this video, I'm going to compile that knowledge and present to you my secret routine to learn English from home for free without paying for courses or tutors with only 20 minutes per day. Now, there are 3 keys to becoming fluent in a language. We can say that it's a triangle, and you need all these 3 things in order to become fluent in English. If you lack one of these things in this triangle, you will not become fluent in English. The first thing in this triangle is acquisition of new vocabulary. In order to become fluent in a language, you need a broad vocabulary. If you don't have a broad vocabulary, you're not going to be able to understand and you're not going to be able to speak. The second key is daily immersion. Every single day, consuming English, listening to English. If you look at a native English speaker, they have more than 10,000 hours in total listening to English. Listening, consuming, absorbing the language is the main driver for developing fluency. And so the last piece of the triangle is long-term motivation. The main reason why English learners fail to become fluent in English is not because they're stupid or not because they don't have a good method or a good teacher, but because they give up due to lack of motivation. It is very, very common. And so you need all these 3 things in order to become fluent in English. If you lose one, you are not going to become fluent. And so in this video, I'm gonna break them down and explain to you how to do them in the most effective way possible. Let's start with daily immersion. I'm going to give you a task. From today, moving forward, I want you to spend at least 10 minutes every single day consuming the English language. That is listening to English or reading English, preferably listening, as listening a lot will help you develop good speech. Now, there are different ways you can consume English on a daily basis. You can watch Netflix, YouTube, you can watch TED Talks, you can listen to podcasts, but the most important thing is that you listen to real English made by native speakers for native speakers. This could be done. You can do this with or without subtitles. If you do it with subtitles, then the subtitles have to be in English. I know that many of you guys will think, no, subtitles is bad. You should not have subtitles when you consume English. And that is wrong. Subtitles are okay if they are in English when you listen to English. However, it's very important to be mindful that if you have subtitles, your eyes are naturally drawn to the subtitles. Your attention is naturally drawn to, focused on the subtitles. And so you're actually practicing reading more than listening. So a good tip is when you watch content in English, try to focus on what they say, listening. And then if you don't understand when listening, then you can look down and look at the subtitles. And then try to be mindful of that and look up again and focus only on listening. Try to do that. Now, I'm going to give you some recommendations on how to do this in the most effective way. But I know a lot of you guys are thinking, how am I going to learn anything if I don't understand anything? And here's the deal. Even though you put on English, advanced English without subtitles, you are actually learning. You are getting accustomed to the way they speak, the accent, the speed, the different intonations. Your brain is very powerful. What you need to do is just be patient, be consistent, try to push through. I know it's very frustrating to watch something when you only understand like 20%, because I do that myself, learning languages. I know how it is. Also, later when I explain the second key, acquisition of new vocabulary, it's going to make a little bit more sense to you. Now you might be thinking, how is immersion going to make me speak? How is listening going to make me speak? Don't I need to practice speaking and having conversations? And the answer is no, because listening is the cause of speaking. Cause and effect. Listening and consuming the English language is what creates language patterns stored in your brain. And that is essentially what creates your ability to speak. So if you spend 5 years just listening and consuming English and acquiring new vocabulary without speaking anything, you will be able to speak very, very well, even though you've never practiced speaking before. And I know a lot of you guys are thinking, but Kalle, I understand English already. I understand when I listen, I understand when I read, but I can't speak. And here's the reality. It's not until you've reached what's called natural listening that you are fully fluent. Natural listening is when you're able to put on any content in English without subtitles, in any accent, any speed, and understand 95% or more. That is when you're completely fluent, and 99% of you guys are not there. We tend to think that we understand a lot, but in reality, we actually understand way less than we think. So your first task is to spend 10 minutes every single day consuming English. And my best recommendation, if you're going to choose between movies, series, podcasts, audiobooks, and even normal books, there is one piece of content that I recommend the most, and that is series. Series are particularly good because of a couple of reasons. Number one, you have a consistent story. When you watch a movie, you need to spend a lot of brain power in figuring out, in understanding different characters, understanding the story, understanding the events happening in that movie. Maybe there's a little mystery in the movie as well. But when you watch a series, you don't need to think about that, because it's always the same characters, the same slang, the same accents, everything is the same throughout a long period of time. So you get accustomed to that and you can focus 100% on listening. The best thing about series is that they are highly addictive, right? We all know that if we watched a series before. When you watch 10 minutes, you want to watch the rest of that episode. And when you've watched one episode, you want to watch another episode. It's very addictive, and that is awesome for your English learning, because then you spend more time consuming. Remember, 10,000 hours consuming to be really, really good at English. Personally, I've watched countless of series in English, and I can definitely say they are one of the biggest reasons to why I have this English today. So my personal favorites are Game of Thrones, House of Cards, Black Mirror, Peaky Blinders, Orange is the New Black, Stranger Things, True Detective, or even classics like Lost or Prison Break. Fantastic series that you can spend months and months and months consuming. So that is piece number 1 of this triangle. Now let's move on to the next key, which is acquisition of new vocabulary. Your next task is to spend another 10 minutes per day doing what's called sentence mining. Remember, in order to become fluent in English, you need to have a broad vocabulary, and in order to get more quality out of listening, in order to understand more when you listen to series, you also need to learn more words. And the best way to do that, in my experience, is to use a method called sentence mining. Let me explain to you how that works. When you're consuming content, you can watch a show on Netflix. For example, here I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is one of my personal favorites on Netflix. You can also watch TED Talks, which is more professional talks. You go in here to TED.com, you click watch and go to TED Talks. These are more professional talks where people talk about things that are going on in the world, science, psychology, a lot of interesting topics that are a little bit more professional. You can watch those here. You can also go to YouTube and watch YouTube. For example, if you want to learn how to play guitar, you can search how to play guitar. You can click here on filters and click down here on features where it says subtitles. Click on that, and that will show only content that has subtitles. So we go in here, click on a video, we just let the ad run, and then when the video starts, the guy is talking, he's teaching us how to play guitar. We go in here and click on this CC button, and that is automatically going to put on subtitles. So that is an awesome feature you can do. You can go in here also on this little wheel here, cog, and go up here on subtitles and see which different subtitles they have and put on subtitles in English. You can also do another cool thing, which is to change the playback speed. If he's talking very fast, you can click here, just as when you're watching me right now, you can click on playback speed and slow him down, make him talk slower, right? So that's pretty cool. Now, what I want you to do is every single day when you're watching this content, I want you to write down 10 new words from this content that you didn't know before. So, for example, in this series, they're saying the word celebrity. I'm going to put up a note here and write down celebrity, okay? I'm consuming this show, I'm watching this 10 minutes of this show, and I'm just gonna note down simply words that I don't know. Ginger, for example. I'm gonna note that down, I don't know what that means, let's say. Okay, Prince. Let's say if I don't know what Prince means, I'll note that down too. And I'll just watch this piece of content and just note down 10 words. Homeless, for example, homeless. Now, I can do this through Netflix. You can also watch TED Talks, and the way they work is typically a person standing on stage giving a speech. And you can also activate subtitles here on this little thing, put on subtitles in English, and you can do the same thing here. Curry. What does curry mean? Curry is food, right? Let's say I don't know the word behind. I'll just write down behind right here. You can also write this down in a notebook or a notepad, like physically, it doesn't matter. The easiest way is just to choose one piece of content, decide which one you like the best, and just take 10 words from that piece of content. Now, let's say I have my 10 words here. Now what I want to do is I want to create sentences of these words. Because in order to learn grammar, we need to consume phrases. Instead of individual words don't say a lot when they're not inside a phrase. So what we want to do here is we want to take this word here, celebrity, copy it, go into Oxford Learners Dictionaries.com and find this word, copy it in here or just write it down here, celebrity, click on search, and now we are going to find sentences, okay? Here we have some sentences, we have more sentences right here, and so what I want you to do here is to exchange the word for a sentence. Now, here are some very long sentences, and to make it easier, you can just take part of that sentence. For example, he became a celebrity in China. You can just take that piece. You don't need to take the entire thing, copy it, and go back here and replace with that. He became a celebrity in China. Here you have a phrase. That is one phrase. Now you take this phrase, you copy it, and you go into Google Translate. This is Google Translate. You just go to Google and search Translate, and you will come to Google Translate. You go here, enter text, and you put in he became a celebrity in China, and you choose your own language, so Spanish, for example. And here is the translation. So you click on this button here, which says copy. Now the translation is copied. And we go back into our document here and we do this. Now we have one phrase. I want you to do this with 10 phrases. Every single day with 10 phrases with the 10 words that you chose from the piece of content that you have chosen to watch. Maybe it's a series, maybe it's Game of Thrones, maybe it's House of Cards, maybe it's Prison Break, whatever. Maybe it's a YouTube video, you choose. But you need to create 10 sentences from this piece of content every single day. Now, this is where the magic happens. What we're gonna do is we're going to learn these phrases in what's called a system of spaced repetition, an app. And we're going to use an app called Anki. Anki is a fantastic app. If you watched my videos here on YouTube before, you know how much faster you can learn English if you use Anki and the technique spaced repetition. So I'm going to show you how to download Anki right now. You go into apps.ankiweb.net, and I suggest you do this on a computer rather than an iPad or an iPhone or a phone, because it's so much easier and faster when you do it on a computer. You click here, download, and then you just download the version. It starts downloading to your computer right here. When you're done, you click on it, and it's going to open the app Anki. This is what the Anki app looks like. As you can see, it is empty. There is nothing there. And that is because we need to upload the phrases. So what we do is we go here and we click on Create Deck. So there's a button down here that says Create Deck. We click on that one. A deck is basically a deck of cards, a deck of phrases. This is the place you have all of your phrases that you study every single day. So let's name it English. We click OK, and I click on this deck right here, and there's nothing here yet. Now I want to go up here and click on Add. So I click Add, and what I want to do is I want to add my phrases. So I have this document here. I take the first piece, which is the English phrase, put it here, and then I take the Spanish translation or the meaning and I put it here. You can choose if you want to have this, not italic, however you want to format this text, if you want it bold. What I suggest you do is you take the word that you didn't know and you put the word in bold. Celebrity was the word I didn't know from the TV show, right? So I've marked that in bold, and I've marked the translation as well. There we go. Now, what I want to do now is I want to add an audio. When I study these phrases, I want to hear the phrases as well. And in order to do that, we have to add what's called an add-on to this software. We go up here and click on Tools. Tools. If you have a Mac, it's going to say Tools up there, and it's almost identical if you use Windows. So we click Tools, and we go down here where it says Add-ons. Go there, and we click here, Get Add-ons. Now, this thing is going to show up, and we're going to click on Browse Add-ons, and it's going to take us to a page with different add-ons, with different extra features, extra software we can plug into Anki. So the one we're looking for is the one called Awesome TTS. TTS stands for Text to Speech, right? Because we want this text to also be an audio. So I click here on this one, and then I go down here a little bit until I find this code right here. So here's a code. I mark this code and I copy it, and then I go back here to Anki again, and then I just paste this code right here and I click OK. And then it adds this one, download complete. Please restart Anki to apply changes. Okay, done. Now, you restart Anki, you come in here again, you add this card, and what you want to do now is to add an audio to the phrase. Here we have the audio button. This one is going to show up. You see there it says Awesome TTS. So I click on that one, and it's basically going to take this phrase and record an audio from it. So I want the voice not to be in Spanish, I want it to be in English, and I want it to be in American English. You can choose if you want to have British English or Australian English even, but since I prefer American English, I choose American English here. You can have a preview, listen.
He became a celebrity in China.
So that is a very American accent and it sounds pretty good. It almost sounds like a real person. And we click record, and then you have this piece here, which is basically the audio. So what I do is I take this here, just follow along by the way. I know this is a little bit complicated, but if you just do exactly as I'm doing, it's gonna work perfectly. So I take this here and I click copy. And then what I wanna do is I want to add it after this one as well. So after this point here, paste. There we go. Let's see, I wanna add there we go. Now I have my card, this is called a card, done. So I click add, boom, that is 1. I want you to do 10 every single day. Now, of course, this took a little bit of time because I'm teaching you, but when you start doing this, it takes 1 minute or less to do this, maybe 5 minutes to do 10 phrases. It's gonna go really, really quickly. So I do the same for ginger. So ginger was another word I didn't know, right? Copy that word, go into oxfordlearnersdictionaries.com. I go up here, I paste that word, search, and Oxford Learners Dictionaries is going to give me a bunch of phrases here. So here we have a teaspoon of ground ginger. Okay, a teaspoon of ground ginger. Okay, let's take that. We'll copy that in, and we'll go back to our notes here, and there we go, a teaspoon of ground ginger. Now let's I'm very perfectionist, so I always want to make big A and a dot. Take this one, copy it in, go to Google Translate, go in here, and then mark that and paste again. A teaspoon of ground ginger, a teaspoon of ground ginger, and here we go. Una cucharadita de jengibre molido. Okay, perfect. Click on copy, go back here, and there we go. You know, if you want to do this even faster, you can just copy it in immediately into Anki. There we go. We have the English phrase, we have the Spanish phrase. I want these to be in normal text, okay? And I want the word that I didn't know to be bold. There we go, bold. And then I want to come down here and add the audio. So I click on this little audio button here, and there we go. A teaspoon of ground ginger. It's English, American English. I click record. There we go. I mark this thing, the sound, I clip, I copy, and then I paste and add. 10 per day. And look now. This is the deck. If we go back here to decks, here you see our deck English. It now has 2 phrases in it. I want you to add 10 phrases to this deck every single day. Now let's start. We click on Study Now.
He became a celebrity in China.
He became a celebrity in China. And now what you do, when you study these phrases, is you look at the phrase, you can listen to it many times.
He became a celebrity in China.
And think, what does this phrase mean? What does this phrase mean? When you have thought about that for a second, you click Show Answer.
He became a celebrity in China.
And you hear the audio again because I pasted it down in the other one as well, remember. So here we go. Now, you have basically studied a phrase. This is what you want to do now. If you knew what the phrase meant, if you knew that he became a celebrity in China equals se convirtió en una celebridad en China, then you click on good down here. Good. If you did not know, which will happen, you will come in here, you have a bunch of phrases, and you will have forgotten. Then if you don't know, if you don't remember, that's fine. Then you click again. Okay?
A teaspoon
Again.
of ground ginger.
Here comes the next phrase. We do the exact same thing. We think for a while, what does this phrase mean? Click show answer. Ginger is obviously jengibre, right? Una cucharadita de jengibre molido. Very good. If I remember, I click good. If I did not remember, I click again. Okay?
He became a celebrity in
And
China.
this phrase is going to come back to us now. And we think, now I remember this phrase.
He became a
That is what it
celebrity
meant.
in China.
Okay. And then you click good.
A teaspoon of ground
Here
ginger.
it comes back, a teaspoon of ground ginger. Now maybe I remember that ginger is jengibre.
A teaspoon of
All
ground
right.
ginger.
Perfect. And I click good again. Or maybe if I did not know, then I click
He
again.
became a celebrity in
Then
China.
It's going to go on.
He
and
became a
go on.
celebrity
I
in
click
China.
Good, go on until I know this phrase. So every single day, I want you to mine 10 phrases, add them into Anki, and review all of your phrases in Anki. Okay? That is very easy to do. In the beginning, it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to this. But when you have done this for a week, it's going to be super, super, super easy. And so with 20 minutes per day, you're watching something in English, noting down words, finding phrases and putting them into Anki. And the whole process of finding words and putting them into the app and studying, that is all studying. You are learning. And so with only 20 minutes per day, you do this consistently. I guarantee you that after a couple of months of doing this, your English is going to improve massively. So again, to reiterate, we have daily immersion every single day, at least 10 minutes per day, listening to English with English subtitles, and also every single day acquiring 10 new phrases. If you do those two things on a regular basis, only 20 minutes per day, then I promise you that in a couple of months, your English is going to be so much better. My personal recommendation is to do the phrases in the beginning of a show. So let's say you watch a TV show here, the episode is 21 minutes long. Typically, the fun part of the episode happens at the end, right? So I suggest you spend the first 5 minutes noting down 10 words, creating the phrases, adding them to Anki, reviewing your Anki, and then go back and watch the rest of the show. That is the easiest way to do it. That is how I personally do it, and it works like magic. When you do it like this, only these two very simple tasks, you do not need to study grammar rules. You do not need to practice your speaking. You only need to do this in order to become fluent. After that, you can perfect your pronunciation, you can perfect your speaking, etc. If your main goal is to become fluent and you only do this, you are going to see fantastic results. I challenge you to do this for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks, challenge you to do this. 10 minutes per day watching the content and 10 minutes per day adding phrases and reviewing your phrases. After 2 weeks, you're going to have 140 phrases and you're going to have spent 140 minutes, probably more, because when you start an episode, we typically finish them, right? So that is the key. Now, the last piece of this triangle, the last secret ingredient to become 100% fluent in English is long-term motivation. As you probably can imagine, it requires time and patience and consistency to do this. Remember, a native speaker has more than 10,000 hours consuming English and probably around 20,000 or more words in their vocabulary. Remember, 2 weeks is only 140 words and 140 minutes consuming the English language. And if you want results, you need to be able to do this during a long time, and therefore long-term motivation is the last piece and one of the most important keys to becoming fluent in English. It is the #1 reason why students fail, because they lose motivation, lack of discipline, lack of consistency, and that's why they fail. They are too obsessed about the final result, that fluent English. But when you do this process and you focus on it and you enjoy it and you just try to find joy in every day doing this over and over and over again, that is when you start to see results. So here are a couple things you can do to maximize long-term motivation and ensure you don't stop learning and never fail with English. These, by the way, these are all tasks that my students are doing in my English course because I know they're working, I know they're so important, so they are actually mandatory for everyone who studies in my course. First, we want to set up tangible and feasible goals. Everyone works better with goals. If we have a clear goal, it's way easier to be disciplined and consistent because we're working towards one simple output. And so how do we set up the goal? Well, we use a framework called SMART. SMART. A goal has to be smart. It has to be specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be achievable, it has to be relevant, and it has to be time-bound. Let me give you an example of a SMART goal. A 20-minute conversation with a native speaker in 90 days. Why is this SMART? Well, because it is specific, 20 minutes conversation with a native speaker in 90 days, very specific. It is measurable, you can measure 20 minutes. It is achievable, we have tons of students who are doing this on a regular basis in our course. It is relevant for most people, right? You want to be able to have conversations, right? So it is relevant, and it is time-bound, 90 days. So that is a perfect goal if you're starting from a basic level. The second thing you need to do after you have created your SMART goal is to write down your why. Why? Why do you want to become fluent in English? I want you to take out a piece of paper or notes on your computer and write down the reason why you want to become fluent in English. And it is not for your university, for your job, to travel, blah, blah, blah. No, it's way deeper. For example, if I ask you, why do you want to become fluent in English? It's for my university. Well, why do you need English for your university? Well, so I can take courses in English and get better grades and apply for a job abroad. Okay, why? Why do you want a job abroad? Well, I want to make more money. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I want to make more money to have a better lifestyle. Why do you want a better lifestyle? So you go deep down into your why. Why do you want to become fluent in English? And I want you to write that down. One sentence. I want to become fluent in English. I want to become fluent in English to, for example, provide a better future for me and my family. A better future, better opportunities in life. That is a good why. Now the third thing I want you to do is I want you to tell your why to the 3 most important people in your life. I want you to take this sentence that you just wrote and I want you to tell your mother, your father, your sister, your best friend, hey, I am going to reach this SMART goal, 20-minute conversation with a native speaker in 90 days, for example. I'm going to go after this SMART goal and this is my reason why. I want you to tell that to the 3 most important people in your life. Maybe that's your mom, your dad, your grandmother, your best friend, your kids, for example. And the reason why is because when you make a public statement, a public promise like that, it is very, very hard to not start working on that goal. It has a very strong psychological effect to publicly say that you're gonna do something because you don't want to be a liar. You don't want to go up to your mom 3 months later and say, hey mom, I failed. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. So those are the 3 things that you need to do to fulfill this triangle of daily immersion, acquisition of new vocabulary, and long-term motivation. Now, as a bonus, if you want to have extra support, extra help, if you want to have someone who pushes you, who helps you, who guides you, who maybe explains a little bit about the English as you're going through this process, you can hire and pay for an English professor or an English coach. Typically costs between $10 and $20 per hour to have someone, a native speaker, with you every single day and help you with this. However, there's a big problem with that, and that is that it's going to be very, very, very expensive. Typically, You need more than 10 sessions with a coach or a professor to go from where you are right now to becoming 100% fluent. I have spoken with Latinos who have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to learn English who haven't even gotten fluent yet. And so I have a better suggestion, a better solution, and that is that you can join my English program, my English course. Because when you do that, you get me for free as your personal English coach for life. You only pay one time, it's one fee, and then for the rest of your life, you have access to me and my English program. And you will not have to pay for any more classes, any more courses for the rest of your life. When you join my program, apart from setting up your SMART goal, apart from writing down your why and sharing it with your friends and family and start working on immersion and acquiring new vocabulary, I'm also going to include a couple of other awesome things. Number one is my entire course with step-by-step instructions on how to do everything and ready-made material for you to start immediately. For example, we have more than 1,300 phrases already made for Anki, immediately given to you when you start the course. You also get pronunciation classes and speaking tips so that you can perfect that pronunciation and go from becoming decent in English to becoming very, very, very good at English. As I said before, pronunciation is not crucial, it's not part of this triangle, but it is something that can really help you improve your fluency because people understand you better, improve your listening, because when you can pronounce certain sounds more correctly, you can also hear them more easily. And when you improve your pronunciation, your confidence increases. We've all gone through the most awkward silences with native speakers trying to say something and they don't understand what we're trying to say. So if you improve your pronunciation, you can get rid of that fear of speaking and become fully confident. When you join my program, you also get accountability partners, which is a key for having that long-term motivation. Accountability partners, other students going through the same process of learning English in the program. You also get exclusive access to our Facebook group in which I personally do live transmissions, answer your questions live, directly. It's almost like we're talking one-to-one, and you get access to our community where you can ask questions, get some more follow-up, some more feedback, some more acompañamiento, como decimos en español. And ultimately, you get access to my special training to get native English-speaking conversation practice partners so that you can practice your speaking and conversations every single day for free. You do not need to pay someone $10 or $20 per hour to talk to you in English. You can do this completely for free, have tens or even hundreds of native speakers talking to you without paying them a single dollar. And I teach you how to do this inside the course. So if you're interested in finding out more about this, I have created a free class, a 1-hour class video on my website where I go through exactly how it works, everything that's included. We have a special offer right now. So if you're interested, click here down below to check out this class, find out more information about the program. I'm going to reveal our special offer at the end of this class as well. So click down below, register, and then hopefully maybe we'll become professor and student in the future. Have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel because that helps us send this video to more people who need help with their English. I know for a fact I'm a very privileged person. I was born in Sweden, one of the best countries in the world. Free education, very good education. I learned English as a child for free. I know that this is not the case in Latin America, and this is my way to give back. So if you give me a like and subscribe to the channel, this video will reach more people who will benefit from this and can learn English to improve their lives and the lives of their families. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your day. Check out the free class. The link is in the description below. Take action now before it's too late, and I'll see you there.